Topic today is knowing your client's goals and objectives, and then lease deal analysis. And although those two subjects seem related but unrelated, the reason I'm doing this is if you're going to analyze a prospective deal for your client, it's important to know what their goal is. And is it cash flow? Is it value? So that's the connection on these two topics today. What are we? Are we salespeople? Real estate advisors, professionals? Paper carriers? Order takers? Who says salespeople? Raise your hand. Real estate advisors? Paper carriers? Order takers? Okay. And we really are all four of those. I think if we're only a paper carrier, we're only an order taker, we're really not a real estate professional or advisor. So my answer was both salespeople and real estate advisors, although we're a bit of everything. But don't just be the order taker or just be the paper carrier, because anyone can do that. Our clients are looking to us as professionals to advise them on strategy, what to do with their property, how to respond to offers. But to do that, you really need to know what your client's goals and objectives are. And listen to what those goals and objectives are and advise them appropriately, because different situations with landlords or property owners, depending on what their goals are, is how you're going to advise them. So this is focusing a little bit more on just a landlord and a lease analysis, but what's the landlord's objective? Are they looking to maximize cash flow or maximize value? If you ask a landlord which is your objective, they'll probably tell you both. And for the most part, that makes sense. But if you're trying to maximize both, it's difficult to really do that. So what I was taking this into was, if you're looking at a lease and you've got an offer, you're representing the landlord, and they're looking to you as a real estate professional on what to do with that offer. And so knowing their main objective between those two is important. So if you're trying to maximize cash flow, the idea is try to get the tenant in there quicker, less downtime, and you may sacrifice a bit on what the rent is that they're willing to pay. But if you're really looking to maximize value, and why would someone be looking to only maximize value? They're looking to sell right now?
Or they've got debt, it's got to be refinanced soon.
Exactly. Loan restrictions. There's always a concern of what other tenants see is happening if it's a multi-tenant park, what's happening with the rents. So quantify how a deal can help your owner to achieve these objectives. How many times have you submitted an offer, whether it's sale or lease, and the first reaction is, oh, that's way too low. Oh no, I can't do that. And oftentimes it's just a gut reaction to what the asking price is. We're asking $1 a foot, that's 80 cents, that's 20% below what we're asking. No, I can't do that. Well, Mr. Landlord, what is your objective? Do you want to maximize your cash flow now? Are you adverse to lowering the rent because you need to refinance, sell the property soon? What's your exit strategy? Well, we're going to hold this, pass it on to my kids. I don't have any debt on it. Well, okay, let's look at how this deal that you think is perhaps too low might actually not be too low. So sometimes you need to be able to show them on paper what that means. what that net rent really means to them. And oftentimes you'll get the negotiating pattern of, okay, we're asking $1, we're asking $1, they offered 75 cents a foot. Okay, split the difference and respond in the middle. Well, that does get deals done, but it's really just split the difference, and see if we can end up, in the middle and make a deal. So what I want to bring up here is a couple of tools that I use to analyze a deal. So, did you move your bottle, Erica? So this is actually partially taken from a deal that was brought to one of our owners up in the Marist Toronto Business Park a while back. And the reason I use this particular example is the left-hand corner Harbor Church offer is the offer that came in. We were asking 75 cents a foot for the space. It was a pretty tough space to lease, and we received a 50-cent offer with significant tenant improvements. And on the surface, it immediately seemed, okay, rate's too low, tenant improvements are too high, there's no deal here. That was the first reaction. So what I did is I broke down, what this nets out, and it nets out to a very low total effective rent per square foot at 36 cents a foot. But once we got into talking about what was really critical for the tenant, what they really needed, and what were tenant-specific tenant improvements, if you take out the need for expansive restrooms for the church and the soundproofing, okay, now we're edging our effective rent up here a little bit. Free rent, if we edge that down and say, okay, if we're going to do a low rent deal, we're not also going to give you 5 months of free rent. So we bumped that down to 2. Okay, now we're up to 47 cents a foot. Now, what I like to do is also look at what I would project as a potential market deal. So the red highlight here is we're asking 75 cents a foot. If we did well and did a new deal at 70 cents a foot with bumps and with a space that's been vacant for almost a year, how much longer from today could it take us? So I projected 5 months of free rent, 5 months of downtime to find a tenant, 5 months of free rent. If they're going to pay a market rent, they're going to want market free rent. Projected TIs that were more generic to this space. And now I'm looking at a 70-cent deal and a 50-cent deal that is essentially net same to the owner. And I didn't plan this as I took those out to be that close, but you see as you go through there, and for this owner, maximizing cash flow at the time was important. So what I'll also do is have 2 recommendations. Proposed counter. In this case, I did a proposed counter at 5 years and a proposed counter at 7 years to see what that would do net effective. So in this case, we went up on the rent, still gave them the free rent, gave them all the TIs they were looking for. At this point, 53 cents a foot is a better net effective rent over 5 years than what probably a pretty reasonable market deal is. And then if you take that on a 7-year lease and you can spread out these expenses, the free rent, these tenant-specific tenant improvements, and you add another 2 years of lease, you can really get that total effective rent per square foot up. So this is a form I like to use just to put it on paper. So going back to the presentation, put it on paper, they can better see really what the offer is and make a better decision to try to maximize their cash flow or If the case was that they were looking to maximize value, then pushing the rent up, maybe increasing the free rent. So if they want to look at a refinance that's going to happen a year from now, and they give away 8 months of free rent now, and boost the rent per square foot up, it's going to achieve their goal of maximizing property value for the refinance. So another spreadsheet I have here
Is this Robak Inc. proprietary software?
no,
So the company can use it?
yeah, I can show that.
Okay.
So here's an example of, this is just, it's not the same property, same analysis. I want to simplify it just to say, okay, this is a single tenant building, and I've got 75 cents a foot rent on an 900 square foot building. And this is analysis that breaks down the net operating expenses. This one includes some loan information, but this 75 cents here goes right here into the rental income. And then taking out our expenses, getting down to our net operating income, debt service, cash flow, cap rate at that price, and then desired cap rates. So if a owner is looking to maximize value and they want to look at, okay, this how is this deal, if I have one tenant, how is this going to affect the value of my property? So maybe we were asking $1 a foot, received an offer at 75 cents. Owner's thinking, well, that might not be a bad deal. What does it do to my value if we had 85 cents? Okay, the rent goes up. So now at a desired cap rate of 7%, my property's worth almost $1.1 million. Well, if I go back 75 cents, my 10 cents a foot, that's what it does to the value of my property at that 7 cap. So when you're looking at an owner that's looking at their maximizing their value, running a quick analysis like this will help. And you can do it just as easy as if this was 8,000 feet and a 100,000 square foot project, you can just run those numbers and see, for that segment of the property, what does that deal affect? How does that affect my my values? Oh, sorry. So for maximizing value, okay to wait to find a tenant to pay a premium. Front load the deal with free rent. Talk about that. Show them on paper what the net really is. What the likely alternative is. Talk about that. And show them if that meets their thing.